As we see Donna and Dave every day at the city hall, sometimes makes me think, are they city employees? But they're always in court. And to prevent homelessness, to help those need assistance that don't know their rights, that the landlord is forcefully evicting them, or they need help, whether it's through some kind of assistance or anything. So they're there every day of the week. And I would like to ask all three of you, even including our speaker, Mr. Gary, to come in here and share your time and your story with us, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm David Crossman with Legal Aid Society. Just to give you an idea of how this came about, as Ahmad mentioned, Donna and I are in city court most days during the week. We happened to be walking out of city courts together one day when we ran into Ahmad, who invited Donna to come speak, and then Donna roped me in as well. And then we came up with this idea that maybe we should give a real-life example of a client that we both helped, and we were able to help save his tenancy. And I'll let Mr. Morant introduce himself, but just so everyone knows, any attorneys in the room, I do have a signed release from Mr. Morant.
Good afternoon, people. God bless. I want to start off. My name is Gary Morant. I'm 60 years old. I have 3 children, ages ranging from 29, 22, and 2 years old. I've been a certified chef for 35 years. I admitted New York food and hotel restaurant from 1979 to 1980. I had a great opportunity to work with celebrity chefs, one known as Tyler Florence. I also worked in popular restaurants, one to be named is Tavern on the Green. All right? I'm not good at this. It's my first time. I arrived in Schenectady in 2002 and became a chef at the Holiday Inn on Knott's Terrace. I've also been a good tenant and usually would stay for a great length of time without incidents. I recently was diagnosed with 4-stage cancer. Which began to impede upon my abilities to perform my job at the same quality I had been used to. Later, I had to stop working altogether. I have a multiple series of surgery since I was diagnosed with cancer. Because of my illness, I lost employment and my income changed dramatically. Together with the collaboration of Legal Aid, DSS, and SCAP, they helped me maintain a life. My life was in their hands, and I appreciate what they have done for me. I now receive Social Security disability benefits, which is just enough to help me maintain housing. My illness continues to affect my ability to advocate for myself when I'm faced with housing issues. However, I do know and utilize the availability of the sources in this community. Thank you for hearing me out. God bless.
Okay, and now it's my job to bore you with some of the details. Mr. Morant came in through a referral from SCAP to Legal Aid Society of Northeastern New York. He came in under the Emergency Solutions Grant. So what do you get from your local Legal Aid Society under the Emergency Solutions Grant? Well, in this case, you get a total of 50 and 1/2 hours altogether that encompasses 2 staff attorneys, 1 managing attorney, 2 student law clerks. This included 2 cases, one of which included an order to show cause. It included 3 different hearings. And if things work out, you get to reinstate the tenancy throughout the pendency of the lease, and you get the client to also sign a new lease. So that's a little spoiler alert here. It is a happy ending, which you probably figured out that we wouldn't be up here without a happy ending. So as Mr. Morant mentioned, he'd always worked. He had private employer. He also had private disability. I also wanted to mention that my colleague Anthony Moen had his case originally and did a lot of the legwork. I covered the court appearance on the first case and then took over the second case subsequently. So what Anthony was able to do was help with Social Security. Now, Mr. Morant now has SSD, but even on an expedited process, that was 6 months. It was a 6-month wait. Now, normally what happens is SSI kicks in the interim. In his case, because he had the private disability, that was considered income, so he got only a nominal one-time payment for SSI. And then, of course, that's when the issues with the eviction start popping up because he's behind on his rent. Now, Anthony and Donna were also able to secure funding through Schenectady County DSS. They committed to pay May and June rent. But that still left July. This is in July that we're going to court. It also left potentially $100 in fees that DSS would not cover. So we have a hearing on July 20th. And that's when we're signing a retainer for representation with Mr. Morant, and he said the 6 words that I will never forget that he just said: "My life is in your hands." No pressure though. So we were able, Donna and I work pretty well together. A lot of times we have kind of an unspoken agreement of what our roles are. I would say in this case, we might have maybe ganged up a little bit on the landlords. I think that you couldn't find 2 more determined people in that courthouse that day. We were not going to let Mr. Morant get evicted. We did work out a stipulation where he paid some in court, he paid some a week later, he pays the fees in August. We included the language that the landlords would provide any documentation needed to secure arrears from DSS. And he acknowledged the landlords acknowledged a forthcoming payment from SCAP of $275, and I think Donna will talk a little bit more about that, but somehow she found $275. I don't know, they upended the couch cushions at SCAP, or wherever they found it, they found it. So we have the stipulation. But subsequently, because Mr. Morant is paying on the stipulation, he falls behind for August rent. And the landlords serve another eviction, another rent demand, then another notice and petition. We go back to court on August 28th, and we enter another stipulation. Again, Mr. Morant was able to scrape together $400. Landlord still wanted $100 in fees, so we were able to push that into September 7th. Friday, September 7th is when he's supposed to pay $325, $225 of which is arrears, $100 is fees. Unfortunately, his check did not arrive until Saturday morning. That's September 8th, the day after he was supposed to pay. And again, I'm in city court most days. I happened to be in city court that Monday, and I saw the landlords walk by. And I thought, I wonder what they're up to. What they were up to was they were asking the courts for a warrant of eviction for defaulting on the stipulation because he didn't pay on Friday. That resulted in us filing an order to show cause. Now, Mr. Morant was served the warrant of eviction on Thursday, the 13th. The lockout was scheduled, well, that can't be real. Lockout was scheduled for Tuesday, the 18th. So on the 17th, we filed the order to show cause, which got signed the same day, served on the sheriff. We had a hearing on the 20th, And I was able to find a case, which is now one of my favorite cases, that says basically a day late and a dollar short. In this case, it was actually $1.56, is a de minimis deviation and should not result in the termination of the tenancy. So we went to court on the 20th, and the judge ordered the landlords to take the money orders that Mr. Morant had brought with him. We were able to reinstate the tenancy. I think SCAP made a subsequent payment for him because in the interim, we found out that his September payment doesn't arrive till October. So we were able to save that tenancy through the end of his lease in January 2019, and happy to report that he signed a new lease for another year.
So I was hired to bring it on home. So that's what I'm going to do, is bring it on home. I work for SCAP. I'm the Housing and Community Services Coordinator there. SCAP first opened its doors in 1965 with a mission on alleviating poverty by helping people help themselves. SCAP remains ever committed to ending poverty and making a difference in people's lives on a daily basis. Nearly 12,000 people walk through our doors each year in search of hope and opportunity. While some of our programs are federal or state funded, today these resources are diminishing. SCAP envisions a community without poverty, where everyone's health, wellness, and safety is a priority. One of these priorities is that everyone has safe, affordable, and decent housing. Throughout our programs, we offer an integrated approach to case management and supportive services. This approach ensures that the best possible outcomes for those we serve. One program that we offer is the Community Crisis Network. This program has partners with the City Mission, SICM, Catholic Charities, and the YWCA. This program provides frontline help to stabilize individuals and families in crisis and prevent future crises by securing needed resources. A key component of this program is securing needed financial resources to assist customers that have no other service in the community that can meet that need. Another service, as Dave has mentioned, is the ESG STEP program. We also at SCAP have the Homeless Prevention and Court Advocacy Program, which is also ESG and STEP funded. This vital program keeps tenants and landlords out of court, keeps people in their homes, and prevents homelessness through advocacy, mediation between landlords and tenants, intervention with city court evictions, and securing resources to help both landlords and tenants. So Gary came to SCAP in May of 2018 with a 3-day notice of eviction from his landlord, which was the result of him losing his income due to a medical condition. SCAP assisted Gary by filling out a temporary assistance application with the Department of Social Services. Our first go-around was a denial. SCAP then, at that point, filed a fair hearing. In the meantime, the landlord, as David stated, filed the notice in court. So when a customer came to SCAP, as Gary did, and needing the service of an eviction, a referral was made to the Northeastern Society of Legal Aid, which is our partner here, Dave. Gary was also provided with another attorney, as Dave has mentioned, with the help of his Social Security benefits. Due to his limited income, Gary did not have sufficient income to meet his eviction need. SCAP was able to utilize the CCN emergency fund to assist Gary to keep him housed. Gary was also in jeopardy of 2 National Grid shutoffs. We were instrumental in advocating with a 30-day hold on his first account, and also too with a HEAP application, since SCAP is a HEAP site. Gary was once again, as I stated, served with an eviction notice. This one was also mediated again by legal aid, and 2, with another payment from SCAP. So to close, I would just like to say at this point in time, there's someone that I myself would like to acknowledge, because there's another person in the room that was instrumental in helping Gary. I'd like to acknowledge Mitch Harvard. Mitch, if you could stand. So we'd like to close once again. This is like Hardin, Marty, and Mazzotti, but this is the heavy hitters from Schenectady. Thank you.